Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak to us
Thanks
today.
for coming, yeah.
First of all, congratulations. Wow, absolutely blown away by the film. Feels like a long time since I've sat in a cinema and really been immersed in a completely original world like I was with the creator.
Oh, cheers.
For people who don't know anything about it, though, what can they expect?
Oh, God. I'm the worst person in the world to answer that question because it took me 4 years and I got it down to 2 hours. So like to try and say it in a sentence is like really difficult, but it's really the fastest way. It's a love letter to all the movies that I grew up in the 80s, and 70s and early 90s, like loving. It feels like in the cinema today, there's a lot of, and I'm to blame for some of this, right? But there's like sequels and franchises, and every week when I was a kid, there was this like original epic sci-fi or fantasy film, and I've kind of missed that. And this was me trying to like chuck a lot of my favorite stuff into a melting pot and try to do something a little bit original and get it back on the screen.
I was really moved by your director's statement, and so much to unpack in that. But, how do you feel like your experience of, becoming a filmmaker, like you said, kind of going through the indie world with monsters, to big budget, Star Wars type things? How's that all kind of fed into your approach with this? Kind of more like an ambitious indie film, filming as much as you can on location and almost then using kind of digital technology to add in bits afterwards. And that is what makes it feel so real and tangible.
Yeah. Well, I did like a lot of people when they make their first movie, they've got no money, and so but there's a lot of amazing creative freedom that comes with that, and so there was a lot of pros to doing the first film with like in a very indie level. The downside is it wasn't in 3,000 screens around the world, in America or whatever, and you didn't have all the scope and scale of a giant blockbuster, and so this was trying to combine those two approaches. And so, one of those things meant that not really try to film in a studio much, like basically go to a real location for every scene in the film. And the great thing is if you get the crew small enough, the cost of traveling anywhere in the world is cheaper than building a set. And so suddenly you can go, and we went to like temples in the Himalayas, the ruins in Cambodia, floating villages, in Thailand, and volcanoes in Indonesia, everywhere. And so, shoot it like it's a real movie, like everything's really there, use locals and not close the roads, like just suck up all the realism and beauty in Southeast Asia, and then essentially put the science fiction on top, in post-production, and hopefully the audience, there's this richness to everything where the audience can't really see the divide between what was really in camera and then what like is blended in as the futuristic environment.
It must seem quite funny to you because although there's been lots of discussion of AI and technology, all through kind of sci-fi, as a genre, it feels more prescient now than ever, even just this year, with ChatGPT kind of launching into people's lives. And it's such a live discussion. So is that quite interesting to you that your film has like hit on this aspect? And what did you kind of want to explore? Because it does feel like there's a reversal there, almost the most feeling of humanity is one that we feel a lot from the AI side of things. So what do you want to say with that?
Yeah, well, I was originally using AI as like a device for like people who are different to us. But when you start exploring AI, you get all these dilemmas that I thought we weren't that we weren't really gonna end up discussing for maybe 50 years. But they're kind of fascinating. Like, how do you know if something's really alive? Is it a trick? Is something really there, or is it just like a piece of software? And is it okay to turn it off? What if it doesn't want to be turned off? All those things. And I've played with ChatGPT now, out of like just fascinated with this question, and try and trip it up, try and talk to it, ask it how it feels, all these sort of things. And it keeps reminding you, I do not have feelings, I don't have opinions, I'm AI. But it really feels like someone's like censoring it, like told it it's got to reply like that to these questions, because it's incredibly convincing when you talk about other things. You think, how can this just be a computer? And that's kind of the dilemma, I guess, at the heart of the movie is John David Washington's character can win the war and save humanity, just got to kill this AI kid. And he, on this journey to kind of essentially, which would end in the execution of the child, starts to doubt, his beliefs, and maybe these things are real, and he struggles the whole time, and there's no easy answer, kind of thing.
ultimately, what do you hope people take away from watching it? Because, like we said at the beginning, you know, it's not often anymore that we get kind of immersed in this totally new world, but almost, you know, while you're there, you believe it's real and it even stays with you afterwards. And then maybe some of these questions almost seep into your subconscious and come out afterwards. But, you know, what do you hope people go away thinking about?
I don't know. I hope, as long as they go away thinking, I don't really mind what it's about. Like, my favourite films are when that car journey home is just, you don't stop talking all the way home. For better or for worse, you know what I mean? Like, you might all disagree with what the movie was trying to say or what happened after the credits rolled. You know, everyone's got a different opinion. But I think that's great. Like, you know, you make these films in a bubble for so long, and then suddenly you have this moment we're about to have where you just hand it over to the world, and it becomes their film. And so I'm really excited about what everyone gets, you know, tells me it's about and what they get from it. Yeah, that's this is the, you know, essentially the fun moment where you see what it is that you've done.
Someone have the religious experience you had when you first watched Star Wars when they watched the creator.
I doubt it, but yeah, if it inspires people to go off and make films, that's like one of the sweetest things I saw last night. Someone sent me a little a tweet or a Facebook link, and some kids had replicated in Southeast Asia. They'd completely replicated the trailer using like what probably was their dad and mum and everything, and they've recreated every single shot. And it was like, that's the kind of thing where you go, that's what it's about. You know, I remember doing that. And yeah, so like that's the loop. That's the thing that's the Holy Grail, really.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. Can't wait for everyone to see the creator.
Thanks
Thank you.
No,
Really nice to meet you. Thanks so much.